Good morning, friends. It's Monday, the 3rd of March, 2025, and it's time for your news from dinarrecaps.com. An analysis explains in detail the reasons for the fluctuations of the Iraqi dinar exchange rate against the dollar over 21 years. The Iraq Future Foundation for Economic Studies and Consultations attributed these fluctuations to internal and external factors, with significant variability observed from 2005 to 2024. Key influences include political, legislative, and economic elements, with supply and demand being the most impactful. Seasonal trends were noted, with December often seeing a peak in exchange rate value, while May was less frequently associated with declines. Additionally, the Central Bank of Iraq's dollar selling levels and various geopolitical conditions play crucial roles. In related news, Central Bank Governor Ali Al-Alaq announced that Iraq has emerged as one of the best countries globally in controlling the sale of dollars, emphasizing transparency and accuracy in the process. He urged the importance of highlighting these national advancements to enhance international confidence in Iraq's banking sector. And this ends this report. Here is our next report from dinarrecaps.com. Something unprecedented is happening with gold. A gold monetary reset is currently unfolding, signifying a shift in the financial system not seen in over 5 decades. For the first time since 1971, gold is taking center stage in a financial transformation, moving beyond its role as an inflation hedge. As the world grapples with a debt-driven economy, the implications of this reset could be historic, driven by both economic and geopolitical forces, reshaping gold's significance. Historically, the last significant threat to the monetary system occurred on August 15, 1971, when President Nixon suspended the dollar's convertibility into gold, marking the start of a debt-based monetary system. This unprecedented transformation is now reigniting discussions about the role and accessibility of gold, particularly as central banks globally ramp up their gold purchases, signaling preparation for a potential new gold-backed system. Despite the increasing importance of gold, the financial market continues to overlook its value, with current prices not reflecting its historical role in economic stability. With the U.S. national debt surpassing $36 trillion, doubts about the credibility of fiat currencies may accelerate a shift towards gold as a foundational monetary standard. As central banks are buying gold at record levels and signs of a systemic financial shift become more evident, the question remains not if gold will regain its prominence, but when this monetary reset will occur. And this ends this report. Here is our next report from dinarrecaps.com. Franked the 6th, proof that they work through Ramadan. Parliament will not be suspended. Parliamentary Legal Committee reveals the plan for sessions during Ramadan. On February 27, 2025, a member of the Parliamentary Legal Committee, Mohammed Anous, confirmed that the Iraqi parliament will not be suspended early due to the upcoming legislative elections. He emphasized that the council has a moral and constitutional responsibility to continue holding its sessions and approving the remaining laws. Anous stated that Parliament sessions during Ramadan will be scheduled for the evening to ensure legislative work continues, and noted that the first and second legislative chapters are sufficient for the reading, discussion, and voting on many laws. The current session began on January 9, 2022, and is expected to run until January 8, 2026. Legislative elections must occur 45 days prior to the end of the parliamentary term, suggesting that the next elections will be held in late November 2025. Franked again, CBI reached to the International Theater, not at 1310. F26. The CBI governor announces integration of Iraq's e-payment system with global networks on February 26, 2025. In a speech at the annual exhibition and conference for finance and banking services in Iraq, Governor Ali Al-Alaq stated that the financial inclusion rate has risen above 40%, highlighting the integration of the Iraqi electronic payment system with global networks. He mentioned that there are now 63,000 devices for electronic payments across Iraq, over 4,000 ATMs, and approximately 17 million bank cards. This development aims to transform banking services digitally and enhance financial inclusion in Iraq. Frank 26, Northern Iraq oil fields welcome Russia. F-26, on February 27, 2025, Russia announces imminent resumption of oil projects in the Kurdistan region. The Russian Ministry of Energy revealed that a settlement between the Kurdistan region of Iraq and the federal government will allow Russian companies to resume projects in the area, including Rosneft. The Iraqi oil minister indicated that Iraq is anticipating Turkey's approval to resume oil flows from the Kurdistan region. Digital currency is so hard to steal? Isn't it Parliament? On February 26, 2025, an expert in international economic affairs, Nawar al-Saadi, discussed the potential benefits and risks of launching a digital currency in Iraq. Al-Saadi noted that while the move could enhance efficiencies and reduce reliance on paper money, it poses challenges like the possibility of its misuse in smuggling and risks to monetary stability. He emphasized the need for a cautious and well-regulated implementation to ensure the stability and security of the financial system. MAGA! Make Iraq Great Again. F-26 on February 28, 2025, U.S. Republican Representative Joe Wilson called for making Iraq great again and stopping Iran's control over the country. His previous calls to cut funding for Iraq have sparked responses on social media. Wilson reiterated the need for the Iraqi people to have a government free from Iranian influence, stating that they deserve a more liberated and prosperous future. F-26, monetary reform teaches from the RV to the RI. F-26, an analysis from the Iraq Al-Mustaqbal Foundation, attributed fluctuations in the exchange rate of the Iraqi dinar against the dollar over 21 years to various internal and external factors. It suggested that while supply and demand trends exhibit seasonal patterns, the exchange rate is also directly influenced by political, legislative, and economic events, urging a holistic monitoring approach of these variables. Frank 26, digital currency is safer than paper, security and stability. F-26. On February 28, 2025, Mazhar Mohammad Salih, the financial advisor to the Prime Minister, confirmed that Iraq is moving towards a digital transformation, with a focus on creating a secure technological and legal infrastructure necessary for digital payments. He stated that the aim is to protect users' rights and combat financial crimes in the digital age. ICER wants to get paid because they too wait for the new exchange rate. F-26 on March 1, 2025, Colonel Miles B. Kaggans III, spokesperson for the Association of the Petroleum Industry of Kurdistan, APIC, emphasized the need for written agreements regarding oil production and exports in the Kurdistan region. APIC insists on clear contracts to ensure payment for oil produced, aligning with Iraq's budget law. Kaggans outlined the necessity of formal agreements to facilitate the resumption of oil exports and addressed the importance of contractual certainty to attract foreign investors. And this ends this report. Here is our next report from dinarrecaps.com. Iraq's gold reserves have risen to more than 17 trillion dinars, as announced by the Central Bank of Iraq on Sunday. The reserves saw a growth of 45.1% in the fourth quarter of 2024, compared to the same quarter in the previous year, increasing from 12.29 trillion dinars in 2023 to 17.83 trillion dinars in 2024. This increase is attributed to higher quantities of gold and rising gold prices, enhancing economic stability and serving as a tool for foreign exchange market intervention. Additionally, the Federal Ministry of Finance will commence funding the February salaries for employees in the Kurdistan region within the next 2 days, as per an informed source. The ministry is set to send 950 billion dinars for this purpose, following the audit of lists sent by the regional government. However, concerns have been raised regarding the regional government's adherence to the agreement with Baghdad, which may affect salary dispersal. In another development, Sudanese advisor Mazhar Mohammad Salih praised the Central Bank of Iraq's move towards issuing a digital currency, calling it a significant advancement that will improve financial oversight, combat money laundering, and aid in financial inclusion. He emphasized the need for a strong technical infrastructure and societal acceptance to facilitate this transition. And this ends this report. Here is our next report from dinarrecaps.com. Iraq's central bank to create its own digital currency. Baghdad, IraqiNews.com. The governor of the Central Bank of Iraq, Ali al-Awlaq, revealed on Wednesday that the bank is planning to create a digital currency to replace paper notes in transactions with central banks. During his speech in the 9th edition of the Iraq Finance Expo, al-Awlaq said that fundamental changes will take place in the banking and financial systems, including the limited use of paper notes, as they will be replaced by digital currencies in transactions between central banks. Iraq is seriously examining establishing a data center, according to al-Awlaq, and the CBI has started working on this project as part of the digital transformation process. Al-Awlaq also indicated that Iraq's financial inclusion rate increased to over 40%, compared to 20% 3 years ago, due to the CBI's promotion of mobile phone-based electronic wallets that enable bill payment and money transfer. Over 4,000 ATMs have been installed, and there are roughly 17 million bank cards in use, according to al-Awlaq, and there are now 1.2 million electronic wallets in Iraq. Iraq's electronic payment system has been connected to global payment networks, allowing Iraqi bank cards to be used abroad and bank cards issued by foreign banks to be accepted locally. Huge change to Iraqi dinar just announced. The Central Bank of Iraq just announced it will create its own digital currency. BRICS extends friendly ties with Europe as US tariffs hit. Europe is extending friendly ties with the BRICS alliance as Trump's tariffs hit the market in February. Several European leaders have expressed displeasure at Trump's decision to impose tariffs on close Western allies. BRICS member China is making use of the escalating tensions between the US and Europe and extending cordial relations. Some countries in Europe are reconsidering their relations with BRICS member China, while others are aiming to diversify their partnerships with Japan and South Korea. Many other European nations are reaching out to India to procure goods. The widening rift between the US and Europe stems out of tariffs and its stance in the Ukraine war. US tariffs. Will Europe get friendly with BRICS? However, the European Union faces a mixed approach with BRICS member China, as some advocate for partnerships while others take a cautious stance. However, China is making use of the situation and pushing cordial ties with Europe as US tariffs hit the market. Europe must take its own decisions on its own, and we have to decide when China can be a partner and when China is a competitor, said Spain's Foreign Minister José Manuel Albares. Germany's Chancellor-in-Waiting Friedrich Merz said that Trump does not care much about the fate of Europe. This gives BRICS a chance to build bridges with Europe, as the US is looking to burn it. My absolute priority will be to strengthen Europe as quickly as possible so that step by step we can really achieve independence from the US, said Merz. If Europe extends ties with BRICS countries, the US will remain isolated and other countries scheme for its downfall. While Europe is grappling with a realignment, maintaining cordial relations with BRICS member China is not a friendly option. The communist country aims to dominate the global financial sector and keep the West in the back seat. The US needs to maintain its relations with Europe and not let things fall apart. And this ends this report. Here's our next report from dinarrecaps.com. In a graphical analysis, economic expert Manar al-Obaidi highlighted the fluctuations of the Iraqi dinar against the US dollar since 2005. He noted that these fluctuations are influenced by various factors, with specific months demonstrating more impact than others. December marked the month with the most frequent increase in the dinar's value, showing a decline against the dollar in 13 of the last 21 years. Other months like August, June, and April followed with significant increases as well. Interestingly, May recorded the least decline in the dinar's value. Al-Obaidi pointed out that while seasonal demand influences these changes, factors such as central bank policies and geopolitical conditions also significantly affect the exchange rate. In a separate announcement, the Central Bank of Iraq has called on the Ministry of Culture to take possession of 23 boxes filled with gold and historical artifacts to enhance Iraqi museums. This initiative is part of efforts to promote Baghdad as the Arab tourism capital for 2025. Additionally, the Prime Minister's advisor, Mazhar Mohammad Salih, stated that the central bank is moving towards the issuance of a digital currency as a gradual alternative to paper currency. He emphasized that this transition could improve financial transparency, control over money flows, and support financial inclusion. And this ends this report. Here is our next report from dinarrecaps.com. A payout schedule for tier groups involved in the RV has been outlined. The Dubai accounts fund the RV, with Dubai 1 funding tiers 1 and 2, Dubai 2 funding tiers 3 and 4, and Dubai 3 funding the adjudicated accounts and Jasara. The payout of bonds and currency is processed in tiers 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, with liquidity release occurring in a predetermined order. Initially, the Elders, German bonds, and select Yellow Dragon bonds are prioritized for payment. The order of liquidity release begins with Dubai 1, followed by Dubai 2 and 3, with recipients of fines and penalties needing Dubai 1 liquid to resolve holdups. Bonds also rely on Dubai 1 liquidity. Tiers 1 to 4B are notified as they await the same. Tier classifications include Tier 1, sovereign nations, Chinese royals, bondholders, church groups, and others. Tier 2, royals, elders, whales, military generals, and political elites. Tier 3, admirals group, American Indians, and large church groups. Tier 4B, the Internet group, representing the general public that has engaged with the intel. Tier 5, the general public that has not followed the intel. The official go-ahead for Tier 4B is still pending, and its release is expected imminently. This operation is described as meticulous and discreet, with the public remaining largely uninformed for security reasons. In additional insights, Ariel speculates that the revaluation of the Iraqi dinar aligns with the establishment of a new republic, suggested to begin from March 4th. He anticipates that after this date, rapid changes may occur in various sectors, particularly in Iraq's political and economic landscapes. Furthermore, an article from Dinar Guru highlights the central bank's achievement in linking the Iraqi electronic payment system with global networks, enhancing international integration and banking efficiency. Lastly, recent developments feature the return of former Iraqi Prime Minister Mustafa al-Kadhimi to Baghdad amid political tensions and an economic crisis, suggesting potential implications for Iraq's stability and international relations. And this ends this report. Here is our next report from dinarrecaps.com. The Central Bank of Iraq has invited the Ministry of Culture to collect gold artifacts, including historical Nimrud antiquities, that were deposited in its vaults to enhance Iraqi museums ahead of Baghdad's designation as the Arab tourism capital for 2025. In a separate announcement, the central bank reported a 45.1% increase in gold reserves during the fourth quarter of 2024, rising from 12.29 trillion dinars in 2023 to 17.83 trillion dinars, attributing this growth to higher global gold prices. The Iraqi dinar has also reached a 9-month high against the US dollar, appreciating from 147,750 to 140,950 dinars, thanks to effective central bank measures. Additionally, there is a gradual decline in dollar prices in Baghdad and Erbil's markets. The Iraqi Finance Ministry concluded discussions with the International Monetary Fund aimed at enhancing financial cooperation, reviewing economic performance, and improving the banking sector. Moreover, a Kurdistan regional government delegation is in Baghdad to negotiate the resumption of oil exports via the Turkish pipeline, following a recent push for final agreements. And this ends this report. Here is our next report from dinarrecaps.com. White House crypto czar confirms as to establish reserve with Bitcoin and other top cryptocurrencies. White House crypto czar David Sacks has endorsed President Donald Trump's U.S. Crypto Strategic Reserve, highlighting its inclusion of Bitcoin and other top cryptocurrencies to position the U.S. as a global leader. Trump's U.S. Crypto Strategic Reserve sparks industry buzz. David Sacks, the White House AI and crypto czar, has expressed support for President Donald Trump's announcement of a U.S. Crypto Strategic Reserve. In a post on social media platform X, Sacks stated, President Trump has announced a crypto strategic reserve consisting of Bitcoin and other top cryptocurrencies. This is consistent with his Week 1 EO 4178, President Trump is keeping his promise to make the U.S. the crypto capital of the world. More to come at the summit. On March 2nd, President Trump outlined the composition and goals of a proposed U.S. crypto reserve on Truth Social. He claimed the initiative would revitalize the cryptocurrency sector, which he said was harmed under the Biden administration. Trump stated that his executive order on digital assets directed the presidential working group to develop a crypto strategic reserve, including XRP, SOL, and ADA, aiming to position the U.S. as a global leader in crypto. In a follow-up post, he confirmed that BTC and ETH would be central to the reserve, expressing support for Bitcoin and Ethereum. His statements indicate a push to integrate major cryptocurrencies into national financial policy. Historically, President Trump's stance on cryptocurrencies has evolved. Initially skeptical, he has recently adopted a more supportive position, aligning with his promise to establish the U.S. as a hub for cryptocurrency innovation. The issuance of Executive Order 14178 reflects this commitment, directing federal agencies to develop frameworks that support digital asset integration and regulation. Sachs also announced on February 28 plans for a significant industry event, stating on X, President Trump will host the first White House Crypto Summit on Friday, March 7th. Attendees will include prominent founders, CEOs, and investors from the crypto industry. Look forward to seeing everyone there. The summit is expected to facilitate dialogue between the administration and key stakeholders, further solidifying the U.S.'s leadership role in the global cryptocurrency landscape. Inside the White House Crypto Summit, Trump to lead talks with 25 key guests. This Friday, March 7th, marks the first-ever White House Crypto Summit, a key event that aims to shape the future of cryptocurrency policy in the U.S. According to Fox Business, the summit is part of a series designed to replace the previously proposed Crypto Advisory Council, giving the president's working group on digital assets a chance to collaborate directly with the crypto industry on key issues. The White House announced today that President Trump will host and deliver remarks at the first-ever White House Crypto Summit on Friday, March 7th. Attendees will include prominent founders, CEOs, and investors from the crypto industry, as well as members of the president's working group on digital assets. The press release stated. Around 25 invitees are expected to attend the summit, though the guest list is still under wraps. It's anticipated that more details on who will be present will be released soon. Some important figures, like David Sachs, the White House's crypto czar, and Bo Hines, are expected to be involved, which signals a positive direction for crypto legislation and future policy clarity. The shift from a formal advisory council to these summits suggests a more flexible approach to policymaking, allowing for direct engagement with industry leaders. This is seen as a step in the right direction for crypto, offering a clearer path forward and showcasing the government's growing support for the industry. The White House Crypto Summit is expected to spark important discussions that could influence future legislation and solidify the role of crypto in the U.S. economy. As crypto continues to gain mainstream acceptance, this summit is a strong signal that the government is committed to ensuring its place in the financial landscape. De-dollarization. Global Bank predicts future of the U.S. dollar. Despite de-dollarization, the U.S. dollar rebounded in price as the DXY index, which measures its performance, climbed above the 107 mark. The DXY index is now trading at the 107.40 level after surging 0.15% on Friday. The U.S. Treasury yields rose this month, making the greenback strengthen in the charts. The move pushed gold prices below the $2,900 range, making the ZAUSD index trade at $2,860 on Friday's opening bell. Leading investment bank Goldman Sachs predicted the future of the U.S. dollar as de-dollarization looms. The global bank weighed the pros and cons of the currency markets and wrote in the latest note to stakeholders that the greenback will make a comeback. Goldman Sachs strategists Karen Reichgott-Fishman and Lexi Conter wrote that the U.S. dollar looks attractive due to the tariffs. Trump has vowed to protect the U.S. dollar amid the onslaught of the de-dollarization agenda kick-started by developing nations. Ultimately, not all tariffs are equal when it comes to FX, the strategists wrote in a note. But given the unwind of premium in key crosses in recent weeks, we once again think tariff risks look underpriced, making long dollar exposure now look even more attractive. Therefore, currency investors can take long positions in the US dollar now, as its prospects look more attractive. Local currencies are under pressure due to tariffs, and the USD is coming out on top. The Indian rupee has fallen to a lifetime low, while the Chinese yuan and the Japanese yen have dipped to yearly lows. The development indicates that tariffs are working against de-dollarization and placing the US dollar on top. And this ends this report. Here is our next report from dinarrecaps.com. Economist Mahmoud Duggar has attributed the decline in the dollar price in local markets to the accumulation of dollar reserves in neighboring countries. He noted that while the dollar price has fallen to 147 dinars per $100 in Baghdad and 146,300 dinars in the Kurdistan region, this trend is not guaranteed due to ongoing speculation in the dinar market. The Central Bank of Iraq has initiated an environmental initiative aimed at converting local brick factories to clean energy sources, in line with global efforts to combat climate change. This initiative includes offering soft loans for the transition from polluting fuels to cleaner energy options, and an allocation of 1 billion dinars to support environmental protection efforts. Additionally, the central bank reported a 45.1% increase in gold reserves, which is indicative of enhanced economic stability. In market updates, the dollar prices witnessed fluctuations, recording 147,500 dinars per $100 at the closure of the stock exchange, down from earlier prices. Conversely, gold prices varied, with a selling price for 1 mithqal of Gulf and Turkish gold recorded at 590,000 dinars in Baghdad, while prices in Erbil remained stable. The Iraqi government, with support from the International Monetary Fund, is committed to achieving financial sustainability and stimulating investment. Recent meetings highlighted a 5% growth in non-oil GDP for 2024, driven by agriculture and increased public spending. Lastly, Rafadain and Rashid banks have begun dispersing salaries for retirees, and the Ministry of Labor and Social Affairs has launched social assistance payments for March, benefiting over 2 million families. And this ends this report. Here is our next report from dinarrecaps.com. 3 friends each married women from different regions of the United States. The first man chose a wife from Wisconsin, instructing her on house duties. By the 3rd day, the house was spotless and dishes neatly put away. The second man married a woman from Minnesota, and by the 3rd day, he found the house tidy and a large dinner prepared. The third man took a bride from Kentucky, demanding various chores. But it took him until the 3rd day to recover enough from his injuries to make a sandwich and load the dishwasher. An elderly priest, noticing changes in church attendance due to a younger priest's fresh ideas, praised him for the plush bucket theater seats and the rock and roll gospel choir. However, he expressed concern over the drive-through confessional and the inappropriate neon sign on the church roof. At a wedding, the bride discreetly gave her father something, leading him to proclaim, "Ladies and gentlemen, today is the luckiest day of my life," as he revealed it was his credit card, causing laughter except from the groom, who felt a mix of realization and dread. And that ends all the news from dinarrecaps.com. We hope this brings value to your day. If so, please like and subscribe, and ring the bell to be notified when our reports are uploaded. Thank you for joining us, and have a great Monday.